Welcome to another episode of HBA Today. The HBA Today is presented by the Berks County Home Builders Association. Today we do it in conjunction with the fine students of the Berks Career Technical Center here in Berks County, a group of tremendous young people that are helping us out. Today I have the real honor to discuss what I think is one of the most incredible grassroots nonprofits that exist in Berks County, the Restoring Hope Foundation. And with us is the chair of the board, Diane Sawks. Diane, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Jim?
I'm well, thank you. So Restoring Hope, what can you tell us about it?
What would you like to know? Restoring Hope was started in 2011 after the 2010 Extreme Home Makeover. I'm sure you remember that.
Okay, well, what is the 2011 Extreme Home Makeover?
The 2010 Extreme Home Makeover was a television show that came in. The producers chose someone in Berks County and asked the HBA if they would get involved in making that happen. And in 2 weeks' time, working 24/7, they completely renovated her home while she was in Florida.
And so that's a major network coming into Berks County and putting on this television show. But some people from Berks County took that idea and made it into something of their own.
Right. Some people from HBA decided they wanted to continue that on a smaller local scale. And so they formed the HBA Restoring Hope Foundation in 2011 as its own 501c3, so its own nonprofit organization. And this is now our 8th year. We've done our 8th build.
Okay. And when you say you do a build, what exactly do you do?
Well, it varies depending on what the need is. This year was probably the most challenging. In 8 days' time, we completely remodel someone's home, depending on what the need was.
So as I understand it, you basically walk in at the beginning of a week, and a week later, these people have a brand new house in many respects.
In many respects. We actually started the last 2 years walking in on a Thursday evening. Thursday night we have a host of volunteers that come in and help us unload the house and pack away what we're going to reuse, throw away what we're not or donate, and pack that into either a pod or this year we used a Penske truck and then took it off site, locked it up and took it off site to store their things while we demolish their house and redo it. And one of the most interesting and I think important things about Restoring Hope is that we do this from that Thursday evening. We'll start Friday morning. The next Friday evening it's got to be finished because that following Saturday we bring the family back. And we do this 95% with donations of product and time.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask. I mean, if you're doing a very large rebuild, which is what you're doing, I cannot imagine that that is an inexpensive proposition, is it?
It was not an inexpensive proposition this year. Okay. And we certainly could use some help with funding this year. There were simply too many things that were needed. We got very much of it donated and labor donated. We didn't pay for any labor, but the materials we had to purchase quite a few of them at a reduced price this year.
Okay. So what you do is you get a lot of your materials donated. Is that a yes?
That's a yes.
Okay. And you get a lot of labor donated.
Absolutely.
And then there's occasionally some things that you could actually use some money for, and that's usually the bigger challenge in the project.
That is the bigger challenge for us.
But how exactly do you and all your volunteers successfully complete a rebuild of a home in 8 days?
It takes a lot of organization, it takes a lot of planning, and it takes a lot of people. We have, Larry Karras has been the lead builder for the last 2 years.
Larry Karras of LA Karras Building.
Okay. And his cousin, actually, Eric Weant, stepped in as the co-lead builder this past year. He has Cross Keys Millwork. He and his sons came in and helped us complete it. But we have so many other people as well.
Now-
We've got volunteers that come back year after year. 3 men who are fantastic. They're 3 retired guys. They've been involved for many years, and they can just about do anything you ask them to do.
How does the board of the Restoring Hope Foundation make a decision as to what project to do, and most particularly, what family to help?
That's a really difficult question to answer. We'll start with the basics. Every year we ask that the applicants have the applications in by mid-February so that we can look at them at that board meeting. The HBA staff scans them, sends them out to the board, and at the first board meeting in February, we all come with our top 5. What we look at is to look at first. What we're looking for is the project doable in a week's time? What is the story? And then we start visiting people. I call and we set up appointments, and most of the builder and designer people go and we actually meet the family or the person. We look at the home to see what's really required, because looking at the paper and what they think they need is many times not the same thing as what the house really does need. And then we've got to just take a look at whether or not it's doable.
And generally, when is the selection process complete?
We try to have the selection process complete by May. We have announced in May, we have announced in June. It just depends on how long it takes us, because even the board and everyone associated with Restoring Hope, it's volunteer. No one gets paid a penny. So in addition to running our own businesses or working for others, we have to work in time to do the site visits.
Now, as I remember, you have some really fine design people that work with you. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
We do. Deb Martzel from Martzel Custom Designs has been involved with us since the 2nd year. And what she is able to do is unbelievable. You know, you can put a new roof on a house and put a new kitchen and a new bathroom or new flooring, not necessarily all of it, sometimes all of it. And it's fantastic, and it's all part of the bones. But until you finish with the paint and the decor, and this, for the past 3 years, Bob's Discount Furniture has stepped up big time. They provided an entire truckload of furniture this year, furniture for every single room. Last year, Tamara became involved.
She also a designer?
She is also a designer and has her own business. De Loretta Designs, I believe. I'm sorry, Tam, if that's wrong. And she and Deb co-designed this year. Also fantastic.
One of the things that I think is particularly special about Restoring Hope is that your recipients pay it forward, for want of a better phrase. Can you talk about that a little bit?
The last 3 well, more than the last 3. Mary Jo Van Zant, who was our 2nd recipient, has been involved in some way since she was the recipient, whether it's helping the recipient by bringing things that she knows they need, or speaking with them, or physically coming and working there. The Landis family's been involved. They were 2014, 15. They've been involved physically coming and working every year. And Christian Yaros and his 8 children and his new wife have really been involved. He got us involved with where he works at Axo Noble. They've been to unload the house. The kids this year brought their friends to help us unload and put back into the house. And then last year's Jamie Knoll from Leesport, she and her daughters were there, and her mother, to help.
As I understand it, you don't really, in order to volunteer and help, you don't necessarily have to be skilled labor, because you and the project managers will do everything you can to find something for everybody to do.
Yes, it becomes difficult sometimes. We do really need the skilled labor as well, but particularly the unloading of the house, that was fantastic. We probably had 40 people helping this year. putting things back into the house at the end, cleaning things, just keeping things, you know. Most of my work as the chair is well before the actual build. I try to be at the build every day for the entire time, and much of what I do there is make sure that the coffee and donuts come on time, and that the lunch that's donated is brought there on time, and that the trash is picked up.
I told you, Diane, I was going to ask you this question. So,
Uh-oh.
what can you tell me is the most heartwarming memory that you have had working with Restoring Hope?
Yeah, you did tell me that. And there are so many. I think it was this year, actually. The Tuesday after the reveal, I got a very long text from Liza Chisholm. And I don't have it memorized, but it is in, I felt so strongly about it that I put it in the thank you letters to everyone that helped. The gist of it was that she's become used to waking up crying every morning because, and remembering how her 23-year-old daughter died from a drug overdose, how her Haley died, and that she found herself waking that morning crying again, but not this time for Haley, crying because of the overwhelming joy and gratitude that she felt. And that this, she said, she mentions Haley and how significant that was for her, that date, because September 15th is now that significant for her and her boys, and that life-changing. So it was the most eloquent thank you I've ever seen. I called her, I said, my God, you made me cry, Liza. And she's continued to be in contact. She sent me a picture of she and the boys with pink boas on, and pictures of her out in the rain, just looking around, saying, I didn't know grass was green. I didn't know I could have grass in my backyard. So there have been a lot, but that was probably the one that touched me the most.
So, for my last question today, Diane, if somebody is watching this video and would want to get involved in Restoring Hope, either by contributing materials, contributing labor, contributing money, their time, how would they become involved?
Well, if they wanted to contribute money, there is on our website, which is in the process of being redone right now, there is a donate button on our website. There's also an apply now button on our website for people who want to apply, but that's a different question. They could also email us through that. They could call me. They could call at the HBA office. I think the emailing and the texting is a little better because it gives me more of a record that I can refer to and make sure that I still have their name and their contact information.
Diane, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Jim.
What you do is amazing. It really is. And let me close with this. I have personally been involved in some Restoring Hope builds, and I can tell you that in this world where there's a lot of negative things going on, that at least for that 1 week that build is going on, there's a neighborhood here in Berks County that an incredible amount of warmth and kindness is emanating from. And Diane and her entire board and everybody that works on that project deserve just the highest level of appreciation we can show them.